All right, it says I'm live, but I'm waiting for all the little lines and things to end. So close to being at the time I wanted to start, and I feel like I need to make some adjustments here, so I apologize. No, I'm not saying so quite so awkwardly. Good morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. It's just barely I missed 11:11. It's 11:12, and I'm talking today about Is It Mine? And honestly, before I started, I had to take a moment to kind of release some stuff that wasn't mine. So welcome if you're here. Let's take a moment and get connected. We're going to take some deep breaths and just kind of release the stress from our bodies. Let ourselves relax as we breathe in. And a part of the challenge of being a sound healer is I'm super distracted by the sounds. I have a really hard time in spaces hearing what's happening. There's so much going on because I am hearing so much and I'm listening for so much. And some people say that's a processing disorder, and maybe it is. I don't know. I've never gotten, if there's a technique to do for healing that. But I think a part of it really is that I am so sensitive to sound, that's the way the spirit communicates the most with me. And my children are doing whatever they're doing. They got these, those toy handcuffs, and they've been clicking them constantly. And they're in the other room making a lot of noise. And I'm just like, guys, we're doing a live video. So if I'm distracted, I apologize. I have tried to communicate with my children that it's time to be quiet. They may not quite get the message. Okay, so let's go to a place where we're connected. What if you were in the very center of your soul, where your spirit and your body and your mind and all of the amazing parts of you converge, where they meet? And how does it feel to be in this space? And most of you will probably feel very excited to be in this place. You'll feel love. It'll feel like a high vibration place. Some of you may not. Some of you may have some resistance to being here. If you are not feeling that amazing, peaceful, loving space, then I invite you to consider loving the energy, loving the resistance. So what if you could love the resistance that prevents you from really being in this place? What would happen if you loved the energy? And notice how, as you ask the question, your spirit, your mind, your body, whatever is controlling everything, it has to go to that place in order to get the answer. And so in order to get the answer of what would happen if I loved the resistance, it has to love the resistance. And so it's kind of a little workaround to get through the resistance. What if I was in a place that's kind of completely connected? How does that feel? And then describe it to yourself. And you have to go to that place in order for it to happen. And I think that's really important. I'm going to shift my camera just slightly. That feels a little better. Okay, so in this connected place, this is a place where we can connect to heaven and be supported by the earth. It's a very centered place. So let's go to this very centered place. So what if you were in this centered place and you could feel like the support, the embrace, the love of the earth? What would it feel like to feel the love and support and embrace of the earth? And what does it feel like to feel the inspiration and unconditional love and embrace of the divine? And what if you know what to say? What if you know what to do? What if you know what to receive? What if you're open to receiving your truth? What does that feel like? Um, as the presenter, it's what if I'm open to knowing exactly what to say today to help you guys be able to release everything that's not yours and just really truly be who you were designed to be. Like, what if I was able to do that? But what if also you, as the viewer, the participant, were able to receive and know what to say in the comments or know what to say in your life or do in your life? Like, maybe you get some like inspiration, and what if you knew exactly what to do with that inspiration? Because it's not just about me getting on here and saying things, it's also about you receiving and you being able to take the little nuggets and apply them in your life. So what if that were happening right now? What if you were in that totally inspired place? How does that feel? We're going to talk about a couple of ways that we have energy that doesn't belong to us. One of them is being an empath. Um, Being an empath is an incredible gift, but most of the time it feels like a curse. It's when you can walk into a space and you just kind of feel what people are feeling. And most of the time, we don't even know we're doing it. So I would go to the store before I even knew what an empath was. I would walk into the store and I'd heard the word empath. I just didn't have an understanding of what it was because I'm like remembering a conversation that I had. Oh my gosh, I was like 20 years old, barely 20 years old. And I had a conversation and they were like, "Are you an empath? Can you feel what other people are feeling? Can you feel other people's pain?" And like, what they didn't explain is there's different kinds of empaths. Maybe they didn't know. So some empaths feel physical pain of other people, and to a degree, I kind of do. But for me, I get the message and the energy that I need. So it doesn't always come out as physical pain because um, mostly I'm here to help people to be an emotional healer, or I mean, to heal emotionally and to heal beliefs so that they can shine brighter. And so feeling where somebody has a physical pain doesn't always make sense for me. Sometimes it does to help me, know what's going on. So it's not something I consistently feel. But I will walk into a grocery store and I will be in an amazing mood. And I'll just be walking around the grocery store. And for some reason, I start to be angry or I start to feel um, depressed or things. And there's nothing happening in the store that triggers me. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Why do I feel this way? And so I walk out exhausted and frustrated and feeling all kinds of feelings. When I learned that I was actually picking up all the emotions of the people around me, it was like I went into the store. I was like, gather, 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 gather. When I realized that was happening, I could use a very simple tool to restore a lot of my energy and to release things. And that is simply returning to sender. But I do it. I return this energy to sender, cleaned with God's love or cleansed with God's love. Because love is like this incredible healing power. And I don't want to just be like, oh, I picked up somebody's anger. I don't want that. Send it back to them. I don't want to be that person. And I know a lot of empaths, they're such loving people. The idea of just returning the energy just does not feel well. But if I can return that energy cleansed and healed and wrapped in God's love, so that when it comes back to them, there's truth that's instilled in the energy. There's healing that comes through the energy, and just a little bit of love returns to them. And then I know that that little bit that comes back to them also comes with little trickles of things that will help them to find the healing that they need. So when I ask, is this mine? Like, so I'm getting really angry at something. Like the other day, I went to Sonic to get my strawberry slush. I know there's so much sugar in those, but I don't drink soda pop, so it's like my one thing that I drink besides water and hot cocoa. And so I go every once in a while, get this, and there was a person who was in the way of being able to go in and get my thing. She, or I'm assuming it's a she just based on what I could see, she was on her phone, and she was just kind of sitting there. There was like a lot of space in front of her, and she was blocking the way. And if she would have just moved up that space, she would have been fine. And I honked because I just was kind of like, could you please move so that I can get by? And as I sat there, I just got so angry. I was saying things and doing things that were not like me. I was pounding on the steering wheel. I was getting really mad. I was this close to swearing. And my 15-year-old son in the car with me, or I might have sworn, was barely holding on. And I didn't even think to use my tools. I was just like, grr, 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 grr. And when I finally calmed down after that person had been through the drive-thru and left, because like we parked, and I was just like kind of stewing this whole time, that person left. And after that person was out of my my space, because our auras are really big. And so when she was moved on away from and left Sonic, all of a sudden I was calm. And the awareness, that wasn't even yours. You don't behave like that. That was so unlike you. And I even said that. I was like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry to my son. I can't believe I behaved that way. That it was so unlike me. And he was like, yeah, Mom, that was really weird. Because it wasn't the way I respond to things. And it was hers. Now, what would have happened if I would have started getting angry? And maybe it wasn't hers. Maybe it was her passengers. Maybe her passenger was angry that they were blocking the way but wasn't saying anything. Or maybe their passenger was angry that the driver was on the phone. Sure, we're sitting in a thing, but maybe they were angry about that. I don't know whose anger exactly it was. I just know where it came from. And it came from that car. And what if, though, I had used my tools? What if I had said, "Ooh, wow, I'm getting really angry. Is this mine?" And then I would have received the answer, no, this is not yours. And then I would have returned it to sender with God's love and sent it on those way. Now, I did, when I realized what happened, I did send God's love. But that's kind of one of the tools, and it's kind of one of the things that you've got to go through, especially as an empath, just be really aware of. I'm in the process right now of learning more about shields because I have struggled with shields. I don't like the feeling of being disconnected from people. I don't feel safe in that way. And that is something for me to look at, is why do I feel unsafe when I'm not feeling the energy of other people? And that's something for me to take a look at and heal. And another thing that happens is it's kind of, to me, the up until a recent conversation has been, if you're shielding, I don't trust the world, shield, completely ideal. I mean, it's like so close. And that is to be in that centered place and to make sure that I'm connected to God and connected to the earth, because we really do need to be in our centered place. Because as soon as we step out, that's when all this stuff can come in. If we stay centered and connected to God, then nothing comes into our space directly. It's when we go out, oh, I see somebody's in pain, and I leave my space to go take care of their space. That's when the energy can come in. Versus staying in my space, oh, I see somebody's in pain. What can I do for them? And when I, like, sometimes I'll feel people's headaches. That's when I do get pain. And I can channel, I'm like, okay, what can I do? Send love through me to them. It's not my own energy because I'm just being the channel for it to come through. And my headache will go away and they start to feel better too. It's pretty awesome. So when I stay in that centered place and say, oh, wow, I realize something's going on, somebody's in pain or somebody's angry, when I stay in that centered place, then I can ask, what can I do? And sometimes it's just nothing. Sometimes it's just be aware, say a little prayer for them, and kind of that's it. So this. So as an empath, that's really important to learn. So what I would do to shield is I would fill up with light from above, and then spread that light out. So I was just sending light out around me. And I don't know that that's really a shield as much as we are filling ourselves up, so there's no space for negative to come in. But also, we're sending out that love to other people, and maybe that's just taking care of those places that they just need love, so we don't feel it as much. I don't know. I just know that when I go into big crowds, I have to remember to do something like that. So I've been thinking about it. And in my church, we teach to be prepared. And with 2020, we learned how important that is, because we, all those people who didn't have any kind of food storage, all of a sudden we're dealing with all the empty shelves, and it's like, oh, wow. And it's not there's two ways to prepare. There's a way of being connected into that higher vibration of solutions. And there's that way of being connected into the fear, centered in a fear energy. And if you're preparing from a fear energy, or if you're shielding from a fear energy, then that's not going to be the most productive way. That means you are in a space being constricted and afraid, and you're just like, the world is attacking me and everything. And that's a time when you need to go within and find out what you're so afraid of. However, you can still prepare for the future, the unknowns of the future, and you can still shield yourself in the future if you're from the spiritually centered place, this place where you are so connected to love and high vibrations. And it's obvious when you have an experience where you felt like, well, I'll give an example that happened to me a few weeks ago. I was signing up to go to my friend's house. She does healing work on me and helps me with my knee. And I was signing up to go. And normally I choose 2:00, and she knows I choose 2:00, and I know I choose 2:00. And normally that's what I choose. And I went to sign up, and it was like, you need to do 1:30. I'm like, what the hey? 2:00, I always do 2:00. You need to do 1:30. And I was like, okay, fine. I will do 1:30. And so I signed up for 1:30. I went to her house, and I was like, do you know why I'm late? Why I needed to come early? She was getting ready to ask me why I came early. And right at 2:00, when I would have been arriving, it started to hail and storm really bad. Now, neither one of us had any way of knowing this. We just both know that we set our appointments and schedules according to what feels right. And that preparation came without knowing why. I felt prompted that I need to be there at 1:30. And then we get to 2:00, and it's like, holy cow, yeah, this is why. Because I was already safely in her place when the storm hit. And it came out of nowhere. And that's kind of how life is. The spirit, the realm is all knowing, and choose our preparation by in that connected space, then we will be prepared. Maybe one day you're shopping and it's like, I need to get an extra thing of milk. You don't know why. Maybe it's because next week the milk's going to be gone. Or maybe it's because your neighbor is like, oh my gosh, I ran out of milk and I have no money. And you're like, here's an extra gallon of milk or whatever. You don't know. But when you're in that connected space, you can prepare. And that goes with shields. So what happens if every morning we ask, what kind of shield do I need today? Or if we're getting ready to go to an event, okay, what kind of shield do I need today? What kind of shield do I need for this event? And you get the impression that, you know what, you just need a solid, don't be connected to anybody's shield today. Your intention is you're full on shielded and you are only here to listen to what they have to say and not connect with other people. Maybe that's what you need. Or maybe it's like, just a light, layer of love around you. So the people know that you're there for them, but you're really here kind of to connect with people, love people. I mean, maybe that's what you need that day. So what if instead of just being like, I'm shielded, what if we asked every day, what kind of shield do I need today? What kind of protection do I need today? Do I need protection today? Do I need a shield today? When I'm at home, do I need a shield? Maybe. Do I need a shield while I'm driving? Often. And usually it's been my experience, because I haven't quite set this as a habit yet, but my experience has been driving along. Oh, wow, that's not mine. Release, return to center with God's love, and shield. And I put a bubble around my car. But what if before I ever drove, I remember to ask, what kind of shield do I need today? Oh, today I need to have a shield protecting me from other people's energy and one that sends love to every car on the road. How cool is that? Okay, so that is for empaths especially, but anybody can use that. Some other ways that we have energy that isn't ours is, as mothers and parents in general, we can very easily get wrapped up in taking care of our children. And we can create a bond, a cord with them that kind of oversteps boundaries. It's a boundary issue, but it's a very common one. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it means that sometimes our feelings and thoughts and things that are going on in our brains are not actually ours. It could be, so my son chose to leave the church that I love, and I started having huge doubts about everything that I believed. And what I've realized is that I was sending so much energy to him that I almost created kind of a cord to him. And all of his energy and all of his thoughts and feelings about things were coming back through it to me and creating so much drama for myself. Instead of sending him love, allowing him to be in whatever space he needs to be, and keeping my energy in myself. It goes back to that centered thing, keeping my energy in myself. When I went through a process to pull my energy back from him, not even knowing, like, holy cow, I have no energy to do anything. I have no energy to pray for anybody. When I pulled that energy back to myself, all of a sudden, I was like, a prayer request from a friend? Yeah, I can handle that. I have the capacity for it. It was because I was sending so much energy out, I couldn't take care of it. But also what happened when I pulled my energy back and sent his energy back to him, and we created a loving space between us, a couple of things happened. One, the relationships improved. That was noticeable last night when he came for family party. But the other thing was, I not only had my energy, but I had the desire to reconnect with my beliefs. And I've been reevaluating them one at a time, truly deciding what I believe, which also means letting go of, does this thought belong to me? No, this thought came through him, who probably got it through somebody else. It is said that 95% something percent of our thoughts aren't even ours. They could be what you've been taught your whole life. And they could be what you're picking up from the people around you. They could be what you're picking up by connecting into the mass consciousness. Like there's a lot of fear, and it's been really taking a conscious effort for the last 18 months to say, wow, the world is really feeling this. Disconnect from them. What do I believe about it? Without all of their stuff. It's been taking a really conscious effort to disconnect from the energy and say, what do I believe? And that's disconnecting from mass consciousness. So what if you right now were to let go of everybody else's thoughts about what's going on in the world? What if you could do that? What if you let go of everybody's thoughts about what's going on in the world? What if you could let go of everybody's thoughts? What would that feel like? And it may take a minute because there's a lot of thoughts going on, but what if you could just really let go of everybody else's thoughts? What does that feel like? Do you notice that your mind calms down? Is that true for you? It's what I feel. And now bring a thought, one of the thoughts, not their thoughts, but bring a concern to mind. Let's say that you're trying to decide whether or not, let's say you're trying to decide whether or not you're going to get a job. I don't want to go very specifically into some of the really, really big things here, but I want to give you the idea so that you can go into the big things. So let's go with looking at a job. There are so many ideas out there about looking for a job, what kind of job you should be looking for, what kind of job you're qualified for, what kind of jobs are available. There's so many thoughts out there, and they're just like all bombarding you. And sometimes it's really hard to know what you actually know or truly believe, or what's real, or what's like, it gets confusing. So what if you were to let go of all of those thoughts, all of everybody else's shoulds? What if you were able to let go of all of your beliefs about what you're qualified for? What if you were able to let go of all the beliefs about what you can do? And now you're just in this empty space. And then what if you knew the truth about you and your ability to work and where you can work and where to get a job? Because when you let go of all that stuff, you've created the space for the inspiration to come from the divine. So what if you could know what's right for you? And then you can take that to everything else, what to do about certain illnesses, whether or not to have certain, participate in certain activities within the illness thing going on, or the political things going on, or whatever. Because you can let go of everybody else's thoughts about this, let go of mass consciousness about this, and then get connected with the divine. What does the divine tell me about this? What is right for me? And what is right for you may not be right for everybody else, and that's okay. But we want to let go of the mass thoughts and the family thoughts and the beliefs of everybody around you and all those shoulds. You want to let go of it all so you can be in the centered space to get your truth. And then the last one that is coming to me that I'm thinking of, the last energy that is not ours, that truly affects us in mass ways, our ancestors. And they made decisions. They got beliefs. They went through experiences. They did all these amazing things, but also all these amazing things comes with lots of things. Like my ancestors, I had a lot of ancestors that were pilgrims, French Huguenots, very core religious belief systems. And those belief systems get passed down generationally. until different people become conscious of it and decide what parts of it they want to hold on to, what parts they want to let go, and it kind of gets let down. So there are some very hardcore Puritan beliefs that are affecting many, many people in the world, especially in the United States. And it could be that it's not Puritan beliefs that you have. Maybe you come from other cultural beliefs where, like, maybe you were raised in very strong cultural beliefs. And like the ones that coming to mind is like India has some very strong cultural beliefs. And um, a lot of those are passed down in your DNA. So we want to let go of all of that stuff so that we can come to our own truths, because that's really what it's about. There are amazing things in the Indian culture. There are amazing things in the Puritan culture. There are amazing things in many cultures and many experiences, religious cultures, family cultures, historical cultures, regional cultures. Like there's so many cultures, there's amazing things in them. And a lot of those get passed down in our DNA, but we want to find our truth and let go of the not so amazing things, the things that are keeping us small. Like an example would be religious beliefs about money being the root of all evil, and the understanding about that. You have to keep yourself very small. It's prideful to look to care about how you look. It's prideful to want to share your knowledge. It's a sin to love money. All these kind of things. And we want to release the negative aspects of it so we can embrace the truths that feel truthful to us, what feels right to us. We want to let go of the negative, embrace it. And that is a family thing. So let me teach you really quickly how I release and take care of the energy of generational things. I don't make it complicated. It's as simple as a prayer and following the spirit, that intuition that guides me. So I will just simply ask my Father in heaven, I'll just ask through prayer, please find the points of origin, known and unknown, analyze my genealogy, my family lines, and find where those points of origin are, and please heal them. Please send deep love into them, unconditional love and truths and understanding to those places so that they can change and transmute, and that the truth can be inherited in my DNA. And I do these kind of, do this one. Another way to do it, and it depends, because sometimes I do feel like that ancestor needs a lot more direct knowledge. Because there's the way to do it where you don't have to know what's happening. It's, asking prayer, send it to the point of origins, known and unknown. Send in love and healing and truth. Cleanse it, clear it, comes down through the generations, and it changes. It can be that simple. There are things in our own lives and things in our family's lives that want to be acknowledged. There is some reason why it's important to actually know what it was. And I'm coming to have a couple things coming to mind. One is back in my Puritan things, I also had the witch trial things going on, and had ancestors. One ancestor, it's really hard to forgive him, and I'm thinking it's because he hasn't forgiven himself. To forgive him for, he had his mother-in-law put to death as a witch. I'm not positive, but I think he had his wife put to death as a witch as well. And I've done a lot of healing on that. I needed to know some of the things going on. I needed to see that they let go of the shackles and moved to the light. There was something important about knowing that. Whereas right now, simply becoming aware that I'm having a hard time forgiving him because he hasn't forgiven himself, I can simply say, Heavenly Father, please help him to forgive himself so that our family can let this go and move on. and help that forgiveness to come down through the generations. And end that prayer. I end it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And now that can be done by the angels, by Heavenly Father, by the divine. You can say your prayers the way that works for you. I don't want to judge you in that, but this is how I do it. Okay. I had this amazing experience with a client, and I was getting impressions and he was saying things and they were all matching up, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. So I went in and I was like, you spent some time doing this. It was something for him to do. I'm going to go work with your ancestor for a minute. So I went back to his ancestor and I was doing a visualization, and I was having a conversation with his ancestor, and I was sending light and teaching and helping it shift. And it was a very conscious thing. And it was a time where it was needed to be known because his ancestor had made a covenant or a promise or something like that that needed to be addressed, and we needed to know that that was his covenant that he made. It was actually oriental in nature, so it makes a lot of sense. The covenant was a very conscious covenant that he made, but it was holding his son in place, or his great grandson. I don't even know. He knew the story of this ancestor, so we went back and I dealt with the covenant, and I helped him make a new covenant to change the energy and to, I can't remember the exact words, but there was a word that we had come down through the generations instead of this promise. So we released the old covenant. We put in a new covenant that was much more positive in nature and would allow his great grandson to be free. So I sent that energy down, and I didn't tell him exactly what I was doing or what happened. I just said that we cleared it. But I sent it this thing, and then I asked him, how are you feeling? And he said the exact word that we'd sent down through his energy. He's like, I don't know why, but this is what I'm feeling. I was like, yes. Sometimes we have to work directly with our generational ancestors. We do that through visualization, and we kind of visualize them and talk to them. Sometimes you may see them look like they're in chains. Sometimes you may see them in other ways. Whatever you see them as is the information that you need to understand what's happening. It doesn't mean that literally that ancestor is in chains, but that part of their energy is being held back from moving. And the chains is a representation to you that you interpret as, oh, they're being held down. And when you release the chains, they can be released. So you work with the visualization, what you see. Always follow the spirit, whatever intuitive guidance you have, and that will clear it. That's one way to work it. The other way is prayer, and both of them work amazing. Just depends on what the energy needs. And that's one way to let go of things that aren't yours. So we've talked about being an empath and asking, is it mine? Letting it go. We've talked a little bit about types of shields. What kind of shield do I need? The cultural energies that we're tying into, the generational energies, the thoughts that we're getting into, and how to release all of those. I hope that this is enough for you. If you are finding that you're stuck on any of those things, I would love to assist you. Please reach out to me, and even if it's just to send a message on this video, and I will find a way to reach out to you. I think there should be a way to find my email. If you go down to the description below, there is information on Facebook group that you should be able to find a way to connect to me there. There are ways to find me. Just know that. I think I even have my Facebook business page listed in the description. You can find me. I just want to offer that to you, that if you are stuck, there are ways to work with me or find somebody else. I'm not holding on to who you work with. I want you to move forward. I want you to be able to release all the stuff that doesn't belong to you so that you can step into your truth of who you are. And before we end, let's take a moment to get connected. I do feel the impression to pull out my drum. I love this thing. I love this. As a sound healer, I especially enjoy working with music. And as we are getting connected, allow yourself to receive the truths that were right for you today. What if you could do that? What if you could receive the truths that are right for you today? And what if you could go through life remembering to ask, what kind of shield do I need? And what do I need? And what isn't mine? And to ask those kind of questions and change those and release things with love. I'm super excited to have you here. I love you guys so very much. And I hope that you are receiving the answers you need. The world is such a beautiful place, but so often we got bombarded with so many things that don't even belong to us. But what if we could let them go and let our light shine big, bright, light, and beautiful? What if we could be the incredible you, the incredible me that we were created to be? I'm going to play one last set of notes for you guys with the intention that you have an amazing ability to shine, that you can let go of everything that doesn't belong to you. And I'll see you guys next time.